All right, guys, what's happening? Today is the day where we meet for this exclusive webinar to get you all the reasons, which you probably know, to get to the US and the best visas options. So, in other words, today we're going to be discussing which visa options are the best for those of you who are a businessman and venture capitalist, a startupper, entrepreneur, and anything that has to do with the business and investment. So welcome, guys, welcome, get comfortable. We're gonna warm up maybe a few minutes, waiting for everybody to join. This particular webinar is going on a live storm platform. So you guys who registered and who are present, you get the benefit of the first question, of all the gifts, of all the links, of all the QR codes that I'm going to be presenting today. Those of you who are watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and other platforms, you guys get the second preference. You'll get everything that you want, but we prefer those who are on Livestorm. All right. So, what are you going to learn today? Well, first of all, why US is a top destination for venture capitalists? And I do believe that this is more a rhetorical question, right? We all know why the US is number one destination, the top destination, because all the biggest capital is here and all the opportunities, right? This question we can get out of the way right now. Best US visa options for investors and business people. That one is the core of today's webinar. Also, I will navigate you through the legal process and potential obstacles and difficulties that you may face while working on your US visa. Also, we're going to discuss and touch on the main mistakes, and of course, you will be able to ask questions. And guys, please let me know who you are and where you're from and what kind of business or project you're involved. Let's say you want to say, hi, my name is John, I'm from Spain, and I'm a startupper. Or, hi, I'm Sergey from Italy, and I'm venture capitalist. So drop me your name, drop me your country, and drop me your occupation. What do you do? So that way I will attach the real-time examples and the material that I have to cover today to you guys, so you could get the best value out of it. So please do this. Please do this. If you do, it's gonna make things easier for me, and you will get more information and value for you. Now, for those of you who is going to stay up to the end of this webinar, and of course, I do advise that you do stay up to the end, because there's gonna be a lot of options to choose from, and you need to explore all of them. So you will get 2 gifts from me. Gift number 1, you will learn how to get a free evaluation of your case, which means that you will be able to learn if you have the potential in your case, which visa is good for you, which criteria you already satisfied, which you're going to be satisfying in the near future. And also, the second gift is a checklist to see which US visa fits you best as a businessman or investor. Okay, so it's a self-assessment checklist, which is going to be working really good with the material on this webinar. All right, guys, a few words about my company. We are located in Miami, South Florida, and I have more than 11 years in American jurisprudence experience. about 10 years working for my own corporation. We specialize on talent visas, national interest visas, business and investors visas. That's all we do. We don't take cases for family law, for a family reunion, for deportation, asylums. We don't take them. We work only on these 3 types of visas, which is very limited. Okay, meaning that we do possess the expertise in this kind of thing. We also had more than 2,500 cases approved for 10 years of my company operations. We have about 100 people working in the project, and we extend our operations to more than 50 countries across the world. Okay, so that's in short about my company, and a few words about myself. And of course, guys, that's the topic I can discuss all day long, but because we're short on time, just the highlights. My name is Stanislav Shamayev. I'm a founder and leading attorney of Shamayev Business Law Corporation. I graduated with honors from Florida Atlantic University and with honors from St. Thomas School of Law in Miami. I worked in the state and federal agencies in the US. That gives me, or rather it gave me, a good perspective what those agencies want from the cases, from the burden of proof, from the evidence and things like that. Also, I'm an active member of Florida Bar Association. Of course, I do have license in Florida, and that gives me the right to practice immigration law across all 50 states and Commonwealth territories. I'm also a member of Broward County Bar Association, and I may practice law in Florida Courts of Appeals and 11th Federal Circuit Court. Okay, that's the appellate level of federal courts. And of course, I'm a member of AILA organization. I've been to more than 35 countries in the world. That gives me good perspective. I'm myself an immigrant, guys, so I know exactly what are your pains, what are your which points hurt the most. All right, I've been through this, I've done this, so I do understand your needs and what exactly you need from this process. And of course, the result is the most important. Of course, we have more than 90% rate of approval for our cases, which, for you to understand, is 40% more than the average in the industry. The average is about 50, maybe 60 max. We were able, with our processes, with our teams, to get it to 90%, which is almost unbelievable. Many attorneys don't believe it, but there we go. That's where we are with our cases and the results for our clients. Now, top 5 reasons for venture capitalists to move to the US. And again, guys, I don't think this requires a lot of time to spend. We have a lot of material. In short, the US has the best economy, has the best banking system, has the best loan and credit system, lots of money, lots of investors, and lots of opportunities. The dreamland, the land of opportunities. So, of course, anyone who wants to test whether the sky has the limits, the US is the country, and I'm an example of that. I came to this country in 2005 by myself when I was 20 years old, with zero money, with zero experience, with zero education, with no connection, and here we are. Not to say that I'm super successful, but I'm an example that it's possible to achieve certain things. Now, guys, you all probably know, and you all probably at some time in the past been a member of some type of business club, we also have an exclusive private business club on the base of my corporation, which means that people who are talented, extraordinary people, the people with the project international interest of the US, the investors and the businessmen, they are members of this club. And the only way to become a member of this exclusive and private business club is to work with my company and get an approval, and of course get through the board of directors to get approved as a member of this club. Okay, at this point we have about 150, probably 160 people, the best people. I would call them the if you take an example of milk, that's the top part of milk, which is cream. The people, the cream, that the best from all over the world, and you may be one of them. All right, let me guys know if you wanna know something specific, something that you wanna discuss in more details throughout this webinar. Okay, unless you tell me certain specifics, certain things, I'm gonna go the way I see it fit. Of course, I think my webinar is well thought through. So without further ado, we start with E2 visa, non-immigrant visa for investors. And guys, let me tell you a few words on this visa. I do believe that among all the visas and programs that we will be discussing today, the E2 visa is the easier one, provided that you have the proper capital. Okay? And this is a great visa to get your foot into the door. And then if you wanna get the green card in the future, you are able to explore other options while you on E2 visa. And E2 visa is a great thing to have because it provides the option to work in the US for you. Your spouse, he or she, will be able to work as well, and your kids below 21 will be able to go to American school for free. Of course, it's a public school, but if you live in a good area, in a good city or village, you will get the best public schools, which could be better than private. Now, what are the criteria for E2 visa to get? First of all, you gotta be from a treaty country. It's easy to check. You can get that list right now on Google. If you Google treaty E2 countries, there's a list of about, I believe, 60, 70 countries, and many Western European countries, a bunch of Asian countries, lots of South American countries are there. So as long as your country in that list, we need the following things. Number one, you need to register a company in the US and provide 5-year business plan if it's a startup business. Option number two, you may purchase an existing business and use that as your vehicle to use for E2 visa, right? So startup with investment or purchasing of the existing business. Office is required for E2, but if we have the nature of the business that does not need an office, and a lot of IT startups just don't need one, right? Because people work remotely, we may skip that requirement. Okay? Now, we need to have an investment, again, investment in startup, or use that investment for the purchase of existing business of at least $100,000. And if it's a startup, we need to spend the majority, the significant part of this investment before we file for E2 visa in the embassy, or if you change the status in the US. All right? So how much would that be? Well, probably 60, 70,000 is good enough. And the rest is on operating checking account for operation expenses. Of course, if you invest more, we'll take it. There's no up, there's no limit to the up, there's only limit to the bottom, okay? And of course, last but not least, we need to prove how that money was made. What does it entail? Well, that entails the understanding the original source of funds, your salary, your dividends, your inheritance, you won a lawsuit, you got a loan from the bank, you got a loan from a friend, you got a gift from parents, whatever that is. We need to know where to start the analysis. Also, we want to see all the transactions from the original source of funds to your company in the US. And we need to know that you paid all the taxes in that country where you made your money, provided that it's not a tax-free jurisdiction. Okay, like in Dubai. All right. And of course, 5-year business plan for startup business. Sometimes we use business plan for an existing business to show how you're going to develop it. All right. So that's basically all the criteria. And you guys can see that this is not very hard. Okay. That there is nothing complicated about this visa. It's very easy to understand, and it's rather easy to pack it up, file it, and get an approval. Okay. In the US, when you change the status, I have 100% approval rate for these visas. Never got a denial, thank God, in my life. So that's the rare case where there's a visa that had no denials. When you go through the embassy, that's a little different story, because the immigration officer right there makes a decision and things could go wrong for many reasons. I would say 10-15% visas going through the embassy gets the denial. You cannot do nothing with that. That's very subjective from the point of view of the embassy. However, overwhelming majority of petitions do get approval. And last thing about E2, guys, it has no limit as to how long you want to stay in the US, as long as your business is operational and brings the economic impact. Okay, what's economic impact? Well, if you have a few employees and your company is profitable, that's definitely economic impact. All right, so you can extend it forever. The status is 2 years, right? So it's 2 years while you're in the US. However, the visa could be up to 5 years. And if you have 5-year visa, if you use it properly, the next time you will have to deal with immigration services in about 7 years. Okay? And let's not get into much detail on that. Just trust me on that. Yesterday, we got 2 approvals for E2 visa in Canada, in Toronto. Toronto was on fire. Those were not the simple cases, especially one of them where my client invested in his US business with equipment. And by the way, the investment does not have to be only in cash. It could be equipment, it could be goods, could be services, could be intellectual property, anything of the value. So there was a problem for him to deliver the equipment through the border. They just wouldn't let him. Okay, they wouldn't let him do that. So what we did, we got a letter of rejection for him to move that equipment through the border, and we attached that to the case for E2, showing that we have the equipment but we cannot deliver it to the US before E2 is approved. And guys, that worked. Okay, that worked. It was a little bit shaky. It was a little shaky, but everything went through, so thank God things are going well with this client. All right, so unlimited extensions, you can transition to green card through EB5 and EB2 and EB3, other things. Your family will be with you. Low investment, high chances, no job requirement. All right, so really good visa, really good visa. All right, now timing for this issue, for this visa. It's up to 6 months to prepare the documents. I'm a firm believer that 3 months is enough for E2 visa, as long as you follow the script and you provide all the documents and you have everything set to go. 3 months is more than enough, but nevertheless, up to 6 months. If you file then through the embassy, it usually 2 to 3 months, depending on the country, to schedule the interview, get the visas and come to the US. If you are in the US, we can change your status within 15 days after filing. Okay, so that's pretty quick. That's pretty quick. All right, let's move on. So let me summarize. E2 visa, small investment visa with the capital starting $100,000, 5-year business plan. It could be a startup, it could be purchasing an existing business, indefinite renewal of the visa. You can bring the family, your spouse will be able to work, your children will be able to go to school, and you have the way to the green card through other programs. Okay? Of course, source of funds and the country is important. So E2 visa is a really good start for many of you to come to the US and do business. Visa number 2, L1 visa. Non-immigrant visa, but with dual intent, which is an important notion. Dual intent is an important notion. Why is it important? Because with this visa, we do not have to prove that you have no immigrant intent. And with that, we don't have to prove the attachment to your motherland. Okay? And sometimes this is an issue. And this visa is for managers and executives. Now, let me give you a bigger picture what L1 is. So you must have a business outside of the US. And most likely you're gonna be owning this business and also working in it. Usually it's a combination of the controlling stock or equity in a company, so you control it, and you also work as a CEO, as a president, as a commercial director, or some kind of top position. That's the usual case for L1 visa, although the original understanding of L1 is when a big, huge corporation overseas wants to bring business in the US and they want to have the employees to start that business. Okay? As years passed, attorneys like me started twisting this law and making other conclusions, and we were able to bring the small or mid-sized businesses owners and the managers and executives to the US. Okay, so that's where we stand right now. So let's assume you guys all own businesses, okay, and you also work in them. So we need to have a company outside of the US where you worked for at least a year for the past 3 years. So maybe you quit from your CEO position 6 months ago, you still would have 1 year within the past 3 years of that requirement. You get it, right? So 1 year within the 3-year time frame from today in a managerial or executive position. So I would assume you guys all in the executive positions because you make the decisions that affect the strategic development of the company. And you must have at least 15 plus employees under your control with a 3-level management structure. So you at the top, then other managers and administrative and operational employees. I would say that if your business in the western part of the world, let's say in Europe, we can deal with less number of employees, okay? If your business in South America, Central America, islands, the Africa, Asia, Antarctica, you know, anywhere not in the western part of the world, then we have to show them at least 15 employees with a 3-level structure. Okay? So if we have that, you're controlling the company or maybe department in the company, because that structure could be formed as a department if it's a big company, right? Maybe 500 people working in this company and you are the top manager or director of, let's say, a marketing department, and you have also managers and you have people who actually do the work. All right. So, and we all know managers don't do the work. So that's the way it is, right? So if we have that and you want to extend your operations to the US, you can do it with 2 options. You have 2 ways, just like with E2. Either the startup or the purchasing of existing business. If it is a startup, you need to make sure that by the end of year 1 of your operations in the US after the issuance of the visa, you will be able to show at least 5 employees in your American company. And 1 or 2 of them must be on a managerial level. So it's the same, it's like it's a pyramid, right? You're at the top, 1 or 2 people below you, let's say general manager or maybe someone else, and people who do the operations. Stanislav, my idea does not require any employees, or at least not as many as 5, maybe 1 or 2. Will I be able to then extend my startup idea for L1 visa? Probably not. Probably not. So if your idea does not get at least 5 people working in this project by the end of year 1, moreover, 8 people by the end of year 3, then L1 visa is not for you. Okay? Because it's purely measured by the number of employees in your overseas company and your US company. Okay? So that's when we talk about startups for L1 visa. And if we go startup way, of course, 5-year business plan, we'll have to extend at the end of year 1, then at the end of year 3, then at the end of year 5, up to 7 years. If we go through the purchasing of an existing business, that business must have already at least 8 employees and 2 or 3 managers among those employees. Okay? So you guys already got it. L1 visa is all about employees. So for those ideas that encompass having people working for the business, and mind that your overseas company has to continue the operations throughout this thing. Okay? And L1 has a direct way of getting to the green card. That way is called EB1C. EB1C. Once we get you to 8 employees under your control in the US company, and your company starts becoming profitable, usually it's year 3, year 5 of your operations, okay? Then we can refile your case for EB1C and get the green card for your whole family. And for L1, we need to we can get the L2 visa for your spouse, and he or she will also be able to work in the US anywhere, including your company. And your kids will be able to go to school. So similar to E2. Okay? All right. So what's the time frame for filing your L1 visa? Here I can say for sure it never happened that we got everything together for less than 6 months. So 6 months is a good measure here. Then after the approval, 2-3 months for the embassy. If you are in the US, once we file the change of status and you're approved, probably around 15 days after the petition was filed, you will be able to work. Okay? And of course, L1A converts to EB1C. Really fast, really easy, as long as we have all the criteria. All right, so let's summarize L1 visa. You have the business outside of the US that has at least 15 employees under your control. And you've been working in this company in an executive or top managerial position for at least a year. You want to extend your operations to the US, you have 2 options, startup or purchasing existing business. If it's a startup, we need to get to the requirement of 5 people working in the company in the first year, at the end of the first year, and 8 people working at the end of the 3rd year. If we're purchasing an existing business, then we need to purchase it with 8 people working in this company at the minimum. And L1 transforms into EB1C, and that's how you get a green card for yourself and your family if you have the idea that fits within the framework of this visa. All right. Let's go to the next one, EB5 visa. Immigration visa for investors. So guys, mind that E2 was non-immigrant visa for investors. EB5 is immigrant visa for investors. So that's the big difference, right? Non-immigrant means that you can come, live, and work. Immigrant visa means you get the 10-year green card residency, which will lead you to the American passport in 5 years after getting the first green card. Okay, and EB5 has 2 green cards, and a little bit more on this in a minute. So EB5 at this point is one of the fastest and easier ways to get the green card for yourself and your family. And again, your family is your spouse and your kids below 21 who are not married. And the why it's easy one, provided that you have the money, right? And of course, $800,000 is a large sum of money. It's a lot of money. And if you want to put that in your active business, then it could be up to $1,050,000. So as long as you have this large budget, this is one of the best ways. And let me explain why. So, and first we're going to cover the passive investment. What does passive investment means? That means that you kind of loan your money to so-called regional center. Original Center is the American private development company or redevelopment company that has the accreditation and license from the US government in order to accept the foreign investments in the amount of at least $800,000 in exchange for the green card. How does that work? As long as we have the $800,000 and we can prove that that money was made legally, there is the original source of fund, we paid all the taxes, and we can track the money that we're investing to the original source. Same sources: salary, dividends, inheritance, loans, credits, gifts, lottery, whatever that is. Selling the assets, that could be anything. That could be even American money, guys. I know some of you like, oh, Stanislav, I have this friend in America and he wants me to loan the money or give me the money, but it's from America, so I cannot use it. No, you can use any money. Even if they were made on the moon, we yet to colonize the moon, but if it was the case, we still could be able to use it. So why passive investment is the best decision for many of you? Because it does not require the actual control and direct of the business. And for some of you, it's like, Stanislav, it sounds like it's a minus, it's like negative part. Why are you saying it's a good thing? Well, because you kind of entrust your money to the regional center, who is in business of doing those things for years, and they have skin in the game. So they do protect your investment because they want to be in this business forever. So, and they are taking responsibility to create the 10 new full-time jobs. And your money is refundable in about 5 years. So you'll get it back and a little interest. Why is it better than active investment, where you actually have the control of your funds and you direct your enterprise? Well, the thing is that then you are also responsible for creating the jobs. And if something doesn't go as you plan, it's a new business, it's a startup, the consequence of that could be really bad. Okay? And you may never get your money back because it's all in your business. So my practice kind of reflects this idea. About 90% of my clients go with EB5 passive investment and about 10% with an active investment. I just filed the EB5 active investment case about a month ago, where my client from Russia, he purchased the farmland and he wants to grow blueberries and strawberries and later on do the ecotourism, build a hotel and just, have people come there, unwind and pick up blueberries and maybe clean the horses, whatever that is. People pay a lot of money for this nowadays to clean the cows and milk them. The good CEOs, they would pay a lot of money for this just to get away from everyday operations. So no problem. If you have some projects like this, I'm happy to help you with that. What is the processing time for passive and active investment for EB5? If it's done right, and it's going to be done right, up to 6 months of getting the documents, filing it, and getting approval in about 3 to 9 months. 3 to 9 months, okay? And then 9 months for the embassy. And 3 months of NVC is a part of embassy process, okay? So in other words, 3 months for NVC and 6 months for embassy interview, which is 9 months altogether. So that's pretty fast. And I know you're like, oh wow, that's like maybe 2 years. True, it's true, but it's it's kind of set in stone. But if you are in the US, we can adjust your status while you're here waiting for your green card. And while you wait for your green card, you have no interview, you have no embassy, and you get the work permit for yourself and your spouse, and the right to travel, which is called advanced parole. Okay? So you guys could see the benefit of being in the US while you're filing for this program. So let's summarize. EB5, large investment immigrant visa, which gives you the green card directly. Two options, passive investment and active investment. With the passive investment, you loan your money to regional center accredited by the US government for about 5 years. And you do nothing after that. You just wait. With active investment, you invest in your idea, in your startup, and once you're approved, you start working on it. And within 2 years of the first green card on active investment, you have to create 10 jobs by the end of 2 years. Once we get to that point, we need to file the second case showing that you created the jobs, and that's when you get the 10-year permanent green card. Same with passive investment, but you don't have to create those jobs. The regional center does create it, so it's a technical thing to file in 2 years a new petition asking for the permanent green card. Okay? So now you see that the risks are higher with your active business because, you know, that's economy, that's business, that's free market. Now, something that's not coming to mind first when you're thinking about business or investment immigration to the US, the talent visa, EB1A or O1, okay, a smaller sister of EB1A. It's like L1 and EB1C. L1 non-immigrant, EB1C immigrant. The O1, EB1A also non-immigrant immigrant, and those are the talent visas. And I hear you guys saying in your head, Stanislav, I'm not talented. Yes, I have success in life. I achieve things through business, through investment. I'm not talented. Well, hold your horses, because being talented or not has a measure, and that measure is the criteria. You guessed it right, if you thought of that. So we have 8 criteria available for business people and investors. And guys, out of more than 2,000 approvals that I had for my 10-year career, probably I will not be mistaken if I say that 20 to 25% of those cases were business cases. Okay? Businessmen, businesswomen, top managers, executives, marketing people, people who bring the technology, the innovation, anything. So, we need to prove 3 criteria out of the 8 available for business. And I know some of you like Stanislav, EB1A has 10 criteria. Correct. But 2 of them for the art. Okay? So 8 for the rest. For business, sport, education, and science. Okay? We're talking about business. So the first 4 criteria is in your face, guys. Those are the awards, national awards, media coverage on you, your projects, your work, your successes, your published articles that you author. I want to see scientific or academic articles. And the 4th one is a critical or leading role in a company with high reputation. It could be your company. It could be a company you worked before. Okay? So I want to see maybe 1 award, 4 or 5 press articles, 3 to 4 academic articles, and 2 critical or leading roles from this slide. Okay, there's more. So I'm giving you kind of the recipe for EB1A. For O1, divide everything in half, basically. So in other words, guys, to get O1 visa for a talent as a businessman or woman, you must have basically 2 criteria to start: the critical role and the commercial success. And you see the commercial success as the 8th criterion in the requirements. We can work and add 3 more as we develop your case, and your employer for O1 could be your own company, your own startup, your own investment company, whatever that is. So the other 4 is judging the work of other professionals, so other business people, through the competitions or through business consulting, most likely. Contribution in the industry, one of the rarest criterion. You must have developed some kind of method, technique, algorithm, approach, course, patent, the innovation, technology, business process, whatever that is, that plays some role into the industry. You either monetize it or people use it, or both. Okay? Member and professional associations. You guys a member of those business clubs? Bring it on. Bring it on. And commercial success, you must make more money than other people in a similar occupation, not other businessmen, no other businesswomen, but the people in your occupation. So let's say you are CEO in a company in Madrid. So we need to compare your salary with other CEOs in Madrid, not everybody else. Okay? Or if you're a director of logistics, we need to know what other directors of logistics make in Madrid and Spain. And if you at least 30% more, we can make a good argument that you guys have a commercial success. So 8 criteria, we need 3 by law. I want 5 for O1 or 6 for EB1A. And the publications and media, those could be improved with the PR agencies, the contacts of which we will give you once you start your case. So add those 2 to any that you have right now. All right? So talent visa is one of the greatest things to do to come to the US as well, especially to start with O1 and then transition to EB1A. We also need letters of recommendations, about 15 of them, okay? So, and some of those letters could be expert opinion letters. Those are the heavyweight letters. One of the best ways to prove to the US immigration officer that you have the talent, you achieved things in your profession, in your industry. And in my company, guys, we have the program called NEO, N-E-O, which means that we match you with 1 or up to 4 current clients out of the average 270 to 80 clients that work with us at any point of time with a similar talent, and you guys exchange the independent expert opinion letters on the cases of each other. Okay? So that way we help you with those important evidence in your case. Up to 4 letters like this. This is insane. This is insane, guys. You could get those letters yourself, but you will have to pay $1,500 for one. So working with my company, participating in NEO program, you might get the value of $6,000 with these letters and get a lot of advantage in your case. All right. Processing time for EB1A, 6 months as always for preparation of your case. 15 days approval. If you are in the US, about 9 months to get the green card. If you are outside of the US, about 9 months to schedule the interview in the embassy. Okay, so altogether about a year and 3 months for the whole process. So let's summarize. EB1A/O1, immigrant and non-immigrant options, are the talent visas, and we don't have to get the Oscar winners, the Nobel Prize winners. No, never got one in my career, and we get a lot of cases like this. All we need is to satisfy by law 3 criteria out of the 8. For many criteria, you can get help working with our company. For O1, I want 5 criteria. For EB1, 6+. Okay, the more the better. If you're involved with IT sector, we probably can get you up to 7, 8 criteria. And it's a green card for EB1A, 3 years for O1, unlimited extensions for 1 year, and the basis to switch to EB1A or EB2NIW. And that's talk about this visa. Before I start, guys, EB1A, the talent visa, EB2NIW are the only 2 exceptions in the entire immigration law sector which do not require an employer. Got it? Which means, okay, Stanislav, whatever. What's the practical use of this information? Well, that means you do not have to rely on the work or efforts of other people. You don't have to rely on Uncle Sam, who owns this company in the US and may be mistreating you because he knows you are on whatever visa you are on, paying you less, putting a lot of work on you, using you as much as he wants, and that's what happens a lot. So EB1A, EB2NIW are the only ones when you don't have to put your faith, your future in the hands of someone else. Everything is under our control. Working on a case, improving the case, filing it, getting the green card, coming to the US, that's it. All right? So, what's EB2NIW? This visa is for those of you with a higher education or good skill and experience in the field who have the idea of how they can help the US to grow. And that could be technical side, could be science, it could be research, it could be business, could be employment of the people, it could be bringing the technology, the innovation, anything that will help the US. I would agree with those of you who would say, Stanislav, EB2NIW is only for STEM people. Yes, 90% of my cases for EB2NIW, which we get approved just like EB1A with more than 90% chances, are for people in STEM, mostly IT and engineers and scientists. But the other 10%, you guys want to guess it, what other 10% goes to? Those 10% go to business, okay? To be fully honest, 90% of those business cases are connected to STEM, one way or another, through technology, through IT services, for selling, and it's STEM connected. 10% are not connected. I had this case about probably 6 months ago where my client opened up the art studio in New York. He developed this nice idea for kids to paint the pictures using the buckets with the paint, and they would swing and the crazy painting would appear, and that thing started working. Parents started bringing the kids. They started opening the second location. Bam, 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 bam. So we built the whole case around this and got it approved. Okay, no STEM, no nothing, cultural project basically, plus economic effect, because each location has employees. Then they want to do the franchise. By the way, guys, for the purpose of EB2 and IW, the word franchise is a buzzword. Okay? Whatever business idea you want to bring with the EB2 and IW, make sure you include the franchising in your business plan. All right? All right. So what are the criteria? The criteria are pretty easy, guys. The criteria is no-brainer. Education or exceptional ability. What's education? Bachelor's or 5 years of experience. So it's a business finance degree in your cases. I would assume most of you from a business part, right? If you don't have the education, bachelor's and 5 years experience or master's, then we can show the exceptional ability. Similar to EB1A criteria, but much lower burden of proof. Much lower. So it's easier to prove those three criteria. So as long as you're in the business more than 10 years without education, that's a good sign. We'll get you through. Now, once we have either education or exceptional ability, we need to present the idea of the endeavor. I like the word project more. It gives you a better understanding. So what kind of idea, business, technology, innovation, cultural experience you want to bring to the US, which is important to the US government? One of the recent approvals for EB2 and IW, by the way, guys, it's not STEM related, but agricultural related. Agriculture is another buzzword for all those visas. If your project in artificial intelligence, agriculture, cybersecurity, maybe I'll put the space technologies as the fourth one. Guys, those are buzzwords. When the immigration officer sees that in the petition, zzz, green light. Remember? Zzz, red light, zzz, green light. Same thing. Like green light, you run. Red light, you stop. So those buzzwords, you run as fast as possible. The past project we got approved is the hotel. Hotel for cows. Okay? You guys didn't know. If you have a cow, there is a hotel for that. Alright? So you bring the cow there, they take care of it, they put a nice, that net on the head, they massage her, they shampoo, they clean her, put the TV in front of her, she's watching the best TV shows, put the classic music, they sleep nice. You guys love it, right? I mean, of course, I'm over-exaggerating this thing, but it's true. The real project that got approved with EB2 and IW. And the investment, of course, we had to show the funds. 100K did the trick. All right? So if you have experience in those, and you be like, Stanislav, what's the national interest? How does that do the national interest? Well, if you bring the cow to this hotel, that cow is gonna give you more milk and maybe more meat if you're gonna kill it afterwards, right? Because they rest, they have good time, they enjoy it, they're being taken care of. Or if you have to leave your farm and you have no one to take care of the cows, you bring them to the hotel. So you don't lose those cows, and that's the national interest. So no gap into production of the milk, of good quality meat and everything else. Okay? Plus the jobs. To do this thing, you guys need to create jobs, people who will be working. And the jobs in agricultural sector is huge. Huge. Okay? And there's a bunch more. There's approval for EB2NW, IT, and a doctor. They created the platform for mental health awareness with AI integration. Good stuff. Watch the YouTube video on my YouTube English channel with the client who got EB2NW in that sector. 6 months, documents, 45 days expedited processing, usually 2 weeks, about 9 months for the embassy, but there is a backlog of about a year and a half. So the whole process may take you 2.5, 3 years. And I know that's a lot, but if that's the only program we have to work for, that's the way to go. All right, guys, let's summarize EB2NW. Bachelor's and 5 years of experience, or master's degree, or exceptional ability, which is usually a good thing when you have more than 10 years of experience into the business. The idea of the project in the national interest of the US. And the last thing, I didn't mention that, but that's kind of logical. You have experience in the past to prove you will be able to realize your project in the future. And funding is one of them. Not only experience, but funding if it's a business idea. Now, how can you assess your chances for those programs and how to make the first step? So, in my company, guys, we developed a very precise structure of sorting you out, making sure we can get you approved, building the strategy, and filing your case in about 6 months. Those are 3 steps. Step number 1, a free evaluation. And that's the first gift that I'm giving to you today. The second one is a little bit later. You guys can see the link in the comment section to get the free evaluation. Click on that link, find the visa or visas, you can fill out more than one, that fits you or fit you. Fill out the form, send it. Within 2 days, I'll get back to you with initial analysis. Which visa is good? Which one is better? Which criteria was satisfied? Which we can work on? And whether you have potential in your case. Potential means to file it within the next 6 months to get more than 90% chance of approval. And if you get that potential, I will invite you to the complex immigration planning, the second step on your way to come to the US. It has 2 meetings. The first one with the data manager, gets all the information from you. And number 2, you meet with me to discuss your written winning strategy, which you will get after the second stage in writing with a list of documents. And third, once you clear with the visa, with improvement, with modification, with the financing stuff, the third step is to hiring my team and myself for the complete case filing service. This service has proved itself for the past 10 years. You get the team up to 11 people, online 24/7 chat in Telegram Messenger for ease of the communication, 4-step verification process of each document, meaning that at least 4 people, including myself, check your paperwork, excludes any possibility for mistakes. Well-established processes and deadlines, 6 months filing of the petition, help with the paying the fees. Also, guys, you get the examples and templates of the papers, documents that you need to provide. And of course, you have the different programs, the NEO program, the RFE answer program, the assistance with the embassy programs, and the membership in the exclusive private business club. Okay? And I see that the link disappeared. Maybe it was the wrong link, so moderator was gonna put the right one. Guys, you can scan the QR code or screenshot it and then scan it from a different device, and that QR code is gonna bring you to the list of those visas we discussed today. The talent visas, national interest, the L1E2, and the EB5, the large investment visa. Okay, so the QR code, and we're gonna drop you the link again. All right, so you guys see the links in the chat. So use either or, it's the same. And the gift number 1, so that already you got this one. It's the same QR code. And the second gift, guys, the expert checklist for investors and business people, self-assessment, that is going to work best with your free evaluation. Okay? Scan the QR code. I'll give you 5 more seconds. Scan it, download it now, or screenshot it and download it today, because we're gonna close that link in 2 days. All right? So don't miss it. A super nice checklist or guide. All right, let's see if you guys get the question. You can also connect with us through WhatsApp, Telegram Messenger, or Facebook Messenger. The QR codes are on the screen. Okay, so that's for your convenience. Also, you can sign up for YouTube channel, Telegram group, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, X, whatever that is. The links are also here, guys. Okay? Also my email, you can email me with all the questions. And for your convenience, the link to the second gift, the checklist. What I need from you right now. I need you to go at least through free evaluation. And let me guys go back with that to the QR code, right? Do not postpone it for the weekend, for after the Halloween, after New York trip, after your kid comes back from school. Do it right now. While you're hot, while you remember everything we discussed, while you know what you're doing. Because those things are gonna evaporate from your brain in a couple of days. So, free evaluation. If I told you you have the potential, complex immigration planning. Once we're clear with that, the full case filing, complete case filing, the third step. So 1, 2, 3, and what separates you from coming to the US and getting all the success in the world is those 3 easy steps. Guys, thank you for your participation. Thank you for being here today. I was happy to present you this material, this webinar. I wish you all the great rest of the week. And remember, your future begins here. Good luck.